Hello folks, it's me again, Amanda Enderman, your trusty tour guide in the wonders of the wonderful city, also known as Rio de Janeiro. And at last, we are back with the Places in Rio series. By the way, how do you like my outfits? This is the very uniform of my company. Leave it in the comment section below. What do you think? Speaking of which, I have to remind you that I'm currently offering walking tours through the city of Rio, and all of them are described on my website, which the link will be in the description box below, as well as in the first fixed comment. So all you have to do is click there, text me via WhatsApp, make your reservations, and let's get to know the city of Rio in person, folks! With yours truly, Amanda Enderman, your trusty tour guide, of course. So folks, here we are at the very famous Parque Lage.
But Amanda, how do I get there? I want to go there very much when I go to Rio because a lot of people have gone there and have posted all over social media, and I can't wait to do the same.
Don't worry, I got you covered. By the way, this very day I had to guide the cameraman, which is filming me right now, to come here. I guided a tour today. So you're gonna take the subway in the station which is closest to where you're staying in Rio.
But Amanda, I've never taken the subway in Rio before. I'm scared.
I've also got you covered. I've already made a video precisely about the subway on this very playlist, which I will leave in the cards above. So all you have to do is click here and you're covered. All of the details of how to use the subway in Rio are there. Going back, you'll take the subway in whatever station is closest to where you're staying, and you will get off at the Botafogo station, and there you will take the exit which says Metrô na Superfície. And in case you're confused and you don't know where the sign is and such, all you have to do is ask the employees there and the security people there. And there's no shortage of security people in the subways in Rio. This is why, in fact, I recommend it so much. Now, let's move on to the actual historic bit, which I'm sure, just like me, is the one that you think is most fun, isn't it? So, folks, where we are now is the slaves' laundry. Like so many places in Rio, Parque Lage in the beginning was just one of many sugarcane mills which existed here back in the 17th century or 1600s. Just like all of the properties at the time, there was an army of slaves harvesting the sugarcane, crushing the sugarcane to extract the sugar, also working in the big house and such. So this was where they would wash clothes. I'm not going to extend myself too much in this bit of the history of Parque Lage on this video because I've already mentioned about this part in the video Making a Buck in Rio Part 1, as well as in the video Treating Rio, which I will also leave the links for that in the cards above here. So all you have to do is click there, and once again, I got you covered. By the way, the very first owner of this place, which I've already mentioned, already in the 1600s, was Antonio Salema. Continuing with our video about the Parque Lage, well, let me tell you, after Antonio Salema, this property over here passed hands like nobody's business. And as a matter of fact, one thing that you will notice before I forget when you come here is that there are quite a few couples coming here to enjoy the park. Yes, actual romantic couples. And by the way, we are recording this video right in the month of June, which I have already explained in past videos is the month of Brazilian Valentine's Day. This is our month to celebrate romance and all of that. So when you come here, what you will notice, especially in this park, is that love is in the air. You'll see a lot of couples taking pictures, also soon to be married couples taking their pre-wedding photos, or even couples that are about to have babies taking their prenatal photos or pregnancy photos. I forgot the name for that right now. So then, after Antonio Salema, The owner of this place was Sebastião Fagundes Varela, and it just so happened that his daughter, Petronilha Fagundes, this was back in the 18th century or 1700s, was considered an old spinster at the age of 31 years old.
But Amanda, hey, wait a second. I'm 35 years old and I'm far from being old.
You have to keep in mind, folks, that back then, life expectancy was 60 years old, 70 if you were very lucky. So 31 years old back then was the equivalent of 61 years old nowadays. So then she was 31 years old, 61 of today, and poor thing, she was still single. She had never been married in her whole life. So she was the heiress to all of this property, which, by the way, back then encompassed the neighborhood of Gávea, which you can easily reach from here on foot, and also the Lagoa. She heard of a young single gentleman who was coming to town called Rodrigo de Freitas Castro de Carvalho. And she went to see who it was, and he was very, very good looking, in fact, very, very handsome. And see how love is beautiful. It was love at first sight. He fell in love with her money, and she fell in love with his good looks. Such a wonderful love story. And to please him even further, after they were married in 1702, she decided to name all of her properties after him. So this is why the Lagoa is called Rodrigo de Freitas Lake, in honor precisely of him. By the way, this place where we are sitting now is the perfect place if you're gonna come here with your spouse or with your boyfriend or with your girlfriend, so that you guys can enjoy some romantic time, because this place is precisely called the Recanto dos Namorados, or translating, the Lover's Corner. Continuing with our video, we are now perhaps in front of the most iconic part of this whole park, which is the palace. Remember that I said before that this passed hands like nobody's business. So in the 19th century, sugarcane was in the final stages of its decline, which began already when the gold rush in Brazil began. So in the 19th century, because of this, a lot of the old sugar plantations were divided in smaller sections. With this, an English nobleman bought this property, which, by the way, this is why nowadays it is far smaller than it used to be in the 18th century or even in the 17th century. And he invited a landscaper to do the landscaping here, which was called John Tyndale, and he is responsible for the very English style gardens that you will be able to see when you're here in this park. By the way, I have already spoken about what defines an English style or romantic style garden in the video that I made about the Passeio Público. After that, a gentleman called Antônio Martins Lage bought the property from this Englishman. However, further generations of his family sold the property, and it was only his grandson, Henrique Lage, who bought the property back. And Henrique Lage, here comes a love story, fell in love with an Italian opera singer called Gabriella Besansoni when she was here in Brazil performing. And he went to the theater inside the room where she was getting ready with flowers and all, and proposed right then and there. She said, however, that she would only accept his marriage proposal if he would build her a castle. This very castle, which is behind me right now. However, this was the 1920s, mind you. In the 1940s came a very sad part of world history, aka World War II. And also, he was getting old, and so he left in his will all of his properties to her and half of his industries. However, he was in debt with the National Bank of Brazil. So he wrote a letter to the then President Getúlio Vargas, and with this, all of his properties, once he died, were incorporated as public property. So, since Gabriela didn't have Brazilian citizenship, and as a matter of fact, here in Brazil, sadly, Italians, Germans, and Japanese were very much persecuted at this time because of the war. So with his death, she went back to Italy and spent the rest of her days there teaching singing lessons.
I'm wishing for the one I love to find me today.
Did you notice the echo in there? This over here is the tower of Parque Lage. As most of the things here, the building was ordered by Henrique Lage. It is believed that he ordered this made also for Gabriela Besansoni, and that because of the acoustics in there, she used to sing over here as well, either practicing or perhaps even presenting herself to a public inside. However, the way up here is quite narrow and quite slippery, so be sure to wear tennis shoes when you come here, or shoes that don't, slip. Be careful. So folks, this concludes this video about the Parque Lage. I hope you liked the video, and if you did like the video, please be sure to click that like button, then click the subscribe button, then most important of all, share this video with as many people as you possibly can, so that each time more people may know of the wonders of the wonderful city. And as usual on this channel, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!